Hey everyone, Kurt and I are here again for another midweek update, and hopefully, Kurt, you're ready for another one of these. You've had a couple weeks off, so
Yeah, thanks for letting me back in again.
that's right.
Since you had all these guest stars for midweek update.
Yeah,
Um, I do have a few things I want to share about things that are coming up, but before we look forward, I thought maybe we'd take a moment and look back to this past Sunday, Youth Sunday.
mhm.
And I just thought it was terrific. The contributions, the participation of the senior high youth was great. But I was wondering if you had any follow-up comments or maybe behind the scenes information that you wanted to share with us. Just take a moment to we could take a moment to reflect on the contributions of the youth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can say that most of the old footage, I think, has been lost, so there won't be some kind of behind-the-scenes footage that goes out. But know that there was many takes that happened there. There
A
could have
lot of
been.
work a lot of work went into that, right? I mean, not preparing, but also for them presenting the I thought the seniors were super creative with what they did. And I liked the variety of showing their personalities and also at the same time that thread of gratitude that they have for the congregation and the way that this church has impacted their lives.
Yes, I really was just impressed with the diversity of sharing that the youth had, and the presence that each of them brought to the Sunday. And there's a line in the song that David Hupp and I wrote that um, says, "Back to the places where I am found. May they keep on coming round, sing me home." And ever since we had been generating this um, "Sing Me Home" name and thinking of it in terms of this gathering, um, I had been thinking about youth. I had been thinking about young adults and and how a name would tie in broadly. But one of those aspects of it, as I was thinking about the ways that it would resonate, was thinking about how it might, how those words would resonate with young people, and this idea of these places where we're found, these
Mm.
places, um, you know, for me that called me into, sort of set apart ministry. That won't be the same way for every young person, but whatever that is, if they're all the way on the West Coast or on the East Coast, or they settle back down here in this area, or wherever that is, that there'll be these places of resonance with the core values of this community, and that they'll sort of be singing those words of home, that sense of something they can take with them out into the world. And hopefully we're equipping everyone of all ages. But that's just something that was present to me this week, as we were last week, as we were putting that together, and for a while now, and just sort of came all into sort of culmination there last week. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're tapping into a theme that's been true in this congregation for a long time, and it's this idea that we're equipping young people with faith, with values, with self-understanding, with care for others. I mean, all these wonderful things that become embedded in their lives and they carry with them out into the world. And it's nice to then think of that also as they leave home, but they can come home again. That there's this circle of connection, and that becomes apparent in these moments where they're getting ready to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
really nice.
so that was yeah, it was a really nice week. And as we look forward here, we have a lot of things, exciting things happening. You're going to talk a little bit about uh, one of those pieces, but I wanted to mention just two quick things before we do that. And that is that we have a children's time every Wednesday. So this evening at 6:30, Brenda Self is going to be offering some sharing with any of the children that want to hop on the Zoom call for that. So that's tonight. And you might have seen in the newsletter if you received that. But if not, Nurture Commission's been having a nurture nudge each week. And this week's nudge is to share a hymn in some way with someone. So a lot of different ways you could do that. You could post the lyrics up on our Facebook group page. You could sing that song to a loved one or a stranger or someone that you want to share that with, or however you might share that hymn. And then we provide a little extra nudge if you want to this week to tell us what you did, and how you shared that with someone. So that's from the Nurture Commission for this week. Now you're going to share a little bit about upcoming process on the 17th.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything before I talk about worship kinds of stuff? Do you want to say anything about the Sing Me Home? What's going on with that?
No, that's
kind of in the middle of that in this week.
Yeah. So we are in the middle of week 4, and the theme is Sing Me Home for Resilience. And I invite you. I had some internet problems. I don't know if anyone else did on Tuesday morning, and I missed Chris Dorman's children's concert. He is on a PBS station in Vermont, but he has roots here in Indiana, and he did a really beautiful job. I watched it with my children this morning, and if it's up there on the page if you would want to watch that. But also we have some programming tomorrow night, and then we're going to move into our last week of this programming next week with the theme Sing Me Home with Love. And you'll recognize some familiar faces. Derek Self is going to be sharing with us, as well as Xander Willoughby, who many of you will remember here, and obviously has some relations in this congregation. So among others, those are just a couple of highlights. I invite you to tune in, and you can watch all the content from past weeks on the website.
Yeah, I was watching the Chris Dorman concert on Tuesday, and just thinking I wished I had small children to watch with me, because it was just delightful. He has sort of a little bit of that Mr. Rogers vibe. He's been recognized in that way, that PBS kind of style, but really nice. And so it's wonderful that those concerts are posted, and people can watch them later, and pick through them to see the ones that they might like to watch. So that's really nice, really nice. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things that are upcoming. Of course, 2 Sundays from now, we're going to have our pastoral candidate participating in live stream worship. That person will be with us here in North Manchester at the church to participate in the worship service. And then afterwards, will join us for a congregational meeting in the Zoom format that we've been using on Sundays at 11 o'clock. And we will live stream that Zoom call for people who don't use Zoom or aren't able to do that. And then also we'll have a congregational vote by way of email, and people can use the telephone and call in if they can't do the email or don't have email to vote. So that's happening on Sunday, May 17th. But a couple of days before that, on May the 15th, we will release information about the candidate. That'll go out through email and through the regular mail for people who don't have email. That'll include information, an introduction to the candidate, the compensation package, the agenda for the council meeting that Sunday. So that's the candidate stuff that's coming up. And if you have questions about that, you can email those to the church email address, and they'll be passed on to whatever person needs to address them in the church leadership. But before we get to that Sunday, to the 17th, this Sunday is May the 10th. And May the 10th, we will be live streaming the worship service from the chapel like we usually do. But I wanted to tell you that that will be our last live stream from the chapel setting, because starting on May 17th, we're going to be live streaming from the sanctuary. And here's the thing, we'll still be presenting the worship service in the up-close personal style that we've been presenting it in the chapel. But moving to the sanctuary is going to allow 2 things for us, 2 important things. One is it's going to allow some more physical distancing space. for those who are leading worship and providing our tech assistance. And having a bit more space to work in will also allow for the possibility of incorporating maybe a few more people in worship leadership, whether those are a couple more musicians or a worship leader or a children's story person. We'd like to be able to do that in these upcoming weeks. We're sort of trying to find our way step by step. The chapel has been a really nice intimate setting, and that's worked well with when there's only been a few of us leading worship, and my family members helping with the tech responsibilities. But the sanctuary is going to give us a bit more space for safe physical distancing. Now, having said all that, I want to be really clear about something. Moving from the chapel to the sanctuary for live streaming does not mean that we are gearing up for in-person worship anytime soon. The future of worship, and in particular, the timing of any move toward resuming in-person worship, is a conversation that the church board is going to have later this month. But I can tell you right now that we're going to wait a while before we resume physical in-person worship, particularly since we have so many people in our congregation who are vulnerable to the virus because of age or physical condition or health. So between May 10th and May 17th, slight change in the worship setting, and then going forward, there may be a few more persons in the mix for worship and music leading, but we will be continuing in the live stream pattern of Sunday morning worship, at least for now. I'll highlight all of that again on Sunday, but I just want people to be able to anticipate kind of the slow, movement toward this. We're not making any huge changes. We just want to kind of continue to look at what's a sustainable model for doing our worship. Anything I missed in that? That seems pretty clear?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you have other things to share? I know you're going to share a song, one of the songs we're going to do this coming Sunday, but do you have anything else and then the song?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just wanted to sort of share this song of centering for your midweek, and as we turn thinking about the theme for Sunday, and Curtis, you were sharing about this piece of scripture from First Peter, and there's images all the way back in Exodus of stones being built together to build a sanctuary. And so I just want to center us with this familiar melody as we think about these living stones that come up in First Peter. Lord, please make me a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, be our living sanctuary for you. Lord, please make me a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
For the closing thought, this is kind of in keeping with the nurture nudge you were talking about earlier. Seth and I talk about hymns each week that we're considering for Sunday. We each bring our ideas and then talk that through. And one of the songs that we talked about for this Sunday is from the Green Hymnal Supplement. It's number 28, titled "We Worship God the Rock." It caught my eye because of the image of the rock and the theme for the service that you were talking about, the living stones. And I'll be honest, I wasn't very taken with the tune for the hymn, but I really liked the lyrics, and so I thought I'd share that image of rock and river that shows up in that hymn, and the expression of that dynamic way that God comes to us and reveals God's self in our lives and in the world. So, you know, as you think about the nurture nudge and sharing a song, could be lyrics, you know, that you could record yourself singing, I guess, and
Yeah.
post it to the Facebook group. But here are the lyrics from this song, "We Worship God the Rock." We worship God the rock, unmoved, secure, like mountains which from ages past endure, a strong foundation for our faith and life, our rock of confidence in storm and strife. We worship God the rock, unmoved, secure. We worship God the river, flowing fast, with life renewing waters sweeping past, a stream creating good to bless the earth and bringing beauty in new forms to birth. We worship God the river, flowing fast. We worship God the rock and river one. Without the water, life had not begun. Without the rock, the river could not flow. We find both true when God we fully know. We worship God, the rock and river one. Something to think about, to incorporate those nice images together. Anyway, thought that was worth sharing. And we look forward to a couple more things, like you said, coming up this week, opportunities to engage with conversation and music and praying. And then we look forward to Sunday.
Definitely. Thanks, Kurt,
Thanks, Seth.
for sharing this time. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.